I'm not ready to fire Kyle Shanahan.
Neither am I. And to me, that's a non-starter.
I'm not ready.
You look at his contract. He's around for 4 more years, I believe. I think he signed through 2025. Jed York is not going to eat 4 years of Kyle Shanahan to bring in whom.
But when you bring up the contract, it makes it sound like the only reason he's staying is because of finances and contract.
No, but that's why he has more security. That if his deal was up at the end of next year, not this year, because no coach ever goes into a lame duck year. Let's say he was only signed through next year, his seat would be a lot hotter.
Okay, but forget contract for a second. Do you want him to still be the coach of the team or not?
Right now, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, let's see how this goes.
Yeah, like no.
Let's see how this year goes. If they continue to be offensively flaccid, even with Jimmy Garoppolo, if the talent acquisitions that you've made. And, you look at Danny Gray in the 3rd round. He can't play. Trey Sermon in the 3rd round. He's not on the team. You've got Aaron Banks, who I think was a 2nd-round pick.
Yep.
And he's just now on the field. And if he's not that good, and Mike McGlinchey at right tackle isn't that good, now we're starting to see a pattern of bad picks. And if you wind up this year at 7 and 10, we've got a different discussion to have.
Yeah, week four. I'm going to try to move away from projecting the end of the year record for this team in week 3, 4, 5. To me, that's a second half of the year conversation.
I had him at 2-1 before the year. At this point, I thought Denver would have beaten him.
Did you? Okay.
In the offseason, I had this as a loss. Now, going into this game this week, seeing what we've seen from Denver.
You've gone back and forth.
Well, honestly,
yeah.
I mean, Vegas went back and forth.
Totally.
This game was a coin toss, and you lost it, and the way you lost it is borderline inexcusable.
No question. No question about that. C in Fremont is next up on Willard and Dibs. Hey, C, what are you doing?
Hey, Denver fan here, so coming in with a little bit of bias, but I thought Broncos had a chance, but all week I heard Niners, they're a championship team with Jimmy, so now after you lose to the Broncos, does it mean the Broncos are a championship team?
No, it doesn't. That's not how football works. I mean, so now are the Bills and Chiefs no longer the 2 best teams in football, see, because they lost yesterday? That's a little prisoner of the moment, don't you think? I mean, your fan base was booing your own offense for the majority of the game, no?
Yeah, they were, but
there's that.
Just wanted your guys' thoughts on it. I've been hearing a lot of poo-pooing on Kyle too, and from a Denver fan, it's just like, man, we would love to have Kyle.
Thank you. See, I mean, that's true. Now, this dynamic, and I think most Niner fans know this. See, congrats on the win. Thank you for calling. I will say this, and I think most 49er fans know this. You know that if you let Kyle go, you know the line's around the block to hire him the next morning. Right? That's a fact.
As an offensive coordinator, for sure.
Head coach.
I wonder.
Head coach.
I wonder.
He'd get picked up right away.
Well, it depends on how this ends. It depends on what his warts ultimately are. I tell you this, he doesn't get a job. If he gets a job as a head coach, he doesn't get the same job as a head coach and a de facto GM. That I can guarantee you.
No, I don't think that's a guarantee at all. I mean, you know this.
You don't have that many of these people in pro football. Period. You don't have a lot of guys. You don't have a lot of head coaches who have the control that he has.
You know the reputation he has in the game.
But his reputation is not as a GM, as a talent evaluator. It's as a play caller.
I know, but
if you were to rank Kyle Shanahan's strengths, play caller, laminated play sheet is number 1. Head coach would be number 2, and then you would get to talent evaluator would be 3rd.
He's not doing player personnel by himself.
Correct.
I know that he's got the final call when it comes to something like a quarterback, probably even a wide receiver, but that's a group. That's a group that does that. Joe in San Jose is next up. Hey, Joe, what are you doing? You're on Willard and Dibs.
Well, I'm just on my lunch.
Man, everybody's eating lunch in the morning today. I love this.
Well, I started at 4 in the morning, boss.
Not a babe.
Boss. Thanks, Chief.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Let me tell you real quick.
Yeah, Joe.
Get off the ledge. You guys are getting crazy with this. You're going to lose some games.
Yep.
All right? Number 2, you're paying Jimmy G's a backup quarterback. He did nothing prior to this team. He was a backup. Number 3, Shanahan, I've been telling you guys this. He's going to be just like his father, man. Didn't you see it?
Yeah, but
he's not going to win.
His father has a very, very good, like, is his father going to the Hall of Fame? I mean, like, are we?
I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame.
No?
He won
Is he
2
not?
Super Bowls because he staggered into one of the best quarterbacks in history.
I mean, we can rip credit from people if we want. I know we do that, but like saying that he's like his dad, if you're wanting that to have a bad connotation, Joe, I don't think the NFL agrees with that.
Mike Shanahan with a .552 winning percentage, so he can't even sniff his dad's success.
Now, here's one other thing.
Kyle's sub 500.
I'm going to sit here and say, don't forget that the 49ers fired Jimmy Garoppolo. That's a part of this story. But to simply call him a backup, well, he's a backup. That's also leaving out some context. I mean, yes, he's the backup. He's also been the starter here for 5 years.
Well, you're the backup
a
until
different backup than other backups.
Well, it doesn't really necessarily have to be disrespectful because look what Dallas's backup is doing. Now, he's a backup, and he came out and he won his first start, and he's in a spot where they could win again and be just one game back of Philadelphia as a backup. So the whole thing about being a backup, it's a temporary label. You're the backup until you're not.